Recently, a beloved Bollywood actor, Sushant Singh Rajput, allegedly committed suicide. Now, I'm not going to go into that matter because people are suspecting foul play. Instead, I'm going to discuss something which shook India. People were finding it very hard to believe that somebody who is rich, who is famous, who has a lot of money, is depressed. What was most unbelievable is that he had a very happy-go-lucky personality. But the list is endless. There are so many Bollywood celebrities who are not able to deal with the pressures of life. Divya Bharti, Guru Dutt, despite having it all. So a lot of people started to get anxious and started to think, what if someone they know is secretly depressed? What if they're pretending to be happy but they're actually really depressed? So in this video, I'm going to discuss smiling depression, how to identify it, and what should you do if one of your friends or one of your family members is secretly depressed. So let's begin with this video. Hi fam, my name is Akansha and welcome to my channel. Today's topic is very important, so it's going to be a detailed video, so let's just jump right in. By the way, my channel talks about everything positive and I try to sprinkle a little bit of science in it. So before I go into how to diagnose depression, let me just distinguish between depressed mood and depression, because these terms are interchangeably used. You know, people, they feel sad and they start to say, I'm depressed. No, you're not depressed. You have a depressed mood. So depressed mood is short term, it is stimuli based and it self-heals. Depression, on the other hand, is long term, it is not stimuli based and it requires intervention. Now, what do I mean by this? Short term and stimuli based. See, depressed mood is usually triggered by an external factor. For example, you lose your job, you start to feel unhappy. Once you get your job back, you again start to feel happy. But if you have depression, you really cannot be controlled by your environment. You are always going to feel sad, you're always going to feel unhappy, and you require intervention, which means you require medical attention. Now, what is the etiology of depression? How is depression actually caused? The exact etiology of depression is unknown. There are many conjunctions. People guess that depression is caused because of this or that, but there is no solid evidence on it. But there are certain risk factors, which means that if you have any of the following symptoms, you have a high chance of developing depression. So if you have a family history of depression, if you have substance abuse, for example, if you're drinking a lot of alcohol, if you're doing drugs, that is also another factor. Socio-economic factor, or that also plays a big role in it. So these are the risk factors. Now, why is depression so important? Why does it actually need medical attention? Because it is high functioning. So this means that the symptoms of your disorder are so much that it impairs your functionality. What does this mean? It means that you are not able to function properly, or you're not able to perform your roles properly because you are constantly depressed. So suppose you are a parent, you're not able to focus on your child because you're so sad. Now you are a professional, you're not able to focus on your professional life, you're not able to do your job because you're so sad. Now what is smiling depression? The topic that we've actually come here for. Now, smiling depression is an umbrella term given to a particular kind of thought pattern. This thought pattern is based on despair, on guilt. People start thinking that their pain is causing discomfort to other people. And this thought pattern is so submerged into the conscious mind that these people, they start to collect evidence. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Suppose you and I are having a meal together, okay? Now, I have the first bite and I just make this face and I don't give you any explanation. And then I continue to eat, and after a few bites, I'm like, okay, the meal is really good. Now, a person who's not suffering from this depression, notice that I'm not using the word normal because there's nothing abnormal about mental illness. So a person who's not suffering from the depression disorder would rationalize, okay, probably the first bite was hot and that is why she made a face, and now she's finding the food better because the temperature has gone down. But the person who has this kind of thought pattern would use it as an evidence. Okay, so if my opening my vulnerability, me showcasing myself is causing discomfort to that person, so they would envelop themselves into this false facade. So they are going to constantly pretend to be something they are not, because they actually start thinking that their, originality, their nature is causing discomfort to the other person. So in order, by being happy, they are trying to protect the other people. So this is what smiling depression means, and it is a high functioning form of depression, which means that it is interfering in all forms of their life. They cannot be professionally good, they cannot be personally good, they cannot be artistically good, they cannot be emotionally good, they cannot be spiritually good, because depression is preventing them from being their best self. Now, how do you diagnose depression? Now, there is something known as the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistic Manual. It is a criteria which is used by the American Psychologists Association. So this diagnostic criteria actually says that you need to have 5 out of these 7 symptoms for a period of 2 weeks in order to be diagnosed as clinically depressed. So what are these symptoms? Number 1, you need to have lesser interest in your surroundings. Now note that this is the quarantine period. Because of the corona times, our interests have already changed. So suppose somebody was very happy in working out. If they do not feel very good in going outside, it could be related to the coronavirus. But suppose somebody really liked to talk to their friends and now they are just socially withdrawing, then it would be counted as somebody whose interests are diminishing. The second symptom is a depressed mood. The third symptom is changes in your sleep pattern, so which means hypersomnia or insomnia. If somebody is sleeping a lot or if somebody is sleeping very little, then it would also be considered as a depressive symptom. The fourth symptom is changes in appetite, eating a lot, eating very little. You can check this by actually seeing changes in weight. The fifth symptom is psychomotor agitation. You know how some people, when they get nervous or they're anxious, they develop these nervous tics, like playing with the rings or playing with the hair. So if somebody who does not have a history of that nervous tic suddenly develops it, it means that this is a depressive symptom. The next symptom is having a feeling of hopelessness. The next symptom is that you are constantly fatigued or you exhibit symptoms of low energy. The last symptom is exhibiting a will to kill themselves, showing a disinterest in life or verbalizing the need to end their lives. Now, if you're finding these symptoms a little bit overwhelming, I'm going to list a particular self-rating scale in the bottom bar. It's called the Zung's self-rating depression scale. Now, this is not used to diagnose depression, but it is used to actually give a disorder rating so that you can know how badly depressed you are, if your case of depression is severe, moderate or mild. Now, what do you do if you have depression? First of all, don't worry. You have many options. Nowadays, you have pharmacotherapy and there are so many options. You are given SSRIs and so many good things which give you good prognosis of depression. People are able to manage it. Secondly, you have psychotherapy, which is like using different interventions like CBT. You're talking about the things which are causing you a problem. You're approaching it from different things. You're challenging your thought patterns and it gives you better results. You feel better. And thirdly, even meditation has shown a lot of improvement. People feel much better once they meditate. Now let's come to the most important part of this video. What to do if somebody you know is secretly depressed. See, you are not medically trained to counsel someone. Your role is to become a bridge between the person and the medical attention they need. You have 2 duties. You should help them verbalize an awareness of the disease. They should be able to say, yes, that it is true, I am depressed. The second thing is that you should help them verbalize a desire to get better. That's it. That's the only 2 things you have to do. Now, there is something that I would like to point out here. In India, we have a sense of assertiveness, a sense of aggression when we are trying to express love to each other. Like, for example, it's so common to push the boundaries. We don't even consider the other person's comfort. For example, if somebody is eating, it's so normal that they're like, okay, I'm done with my plate. And you're like, no, you should have 1 more roti. Because we think that we are expressing our love. So once you feel that somebody is secretly depressed, don't use this kind of approach to deal with them. Don't be like, I know you're depressed, okay? I know that you're not going to these parties. I know it. What you're actually doing is by showing this assertiveness, you are actually making them think that they are causing you pain. Remember, we talked about that thought pattern in which they keep finding different evidences to support their belief that their discomfort is causing pain to other people. So if you're like, no, I know I know that you're unhappy and I know you're sad, they're just going to feel a little rattled and they're going to go into their cocoon further. So instead, you need to provide support by being consistent, by being present, by showing your action. So if they say that they're not feeling up to go to a party, or they're not feeling like talking to somebody, just sit with them. Tell them that it's very normal. Tell them that if they need help, it's available, but don't force it. The other thing as Indians, that what we've developed is that because mental health is such a taboo topic, we don't feel comfortable discussing it directly. Instead, what we use is this tactic of distract. Like for example, we've done this over and over again. Imagine that a child falls down. We don't tell them it's okay that you're hurt. Instead, we're like, oh no, bad ground, let's just hit the ground. Don't do that. Don't distract the person. Help them acknowledge their pain. So if they're feeling down, tell them it's okay. Sometimes it's okay to feel sad. Help them acknowledge their discomfort. So that's it, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. I'm quickly going to summarize. There is a difference between depressed mood and depression. High functioning depression interferes with all areas of your life. Smiling depression is a depression which is based on the thought pattern of guilt, and the symptoms include fatigue, loss of interest, depressed mood, changes in sleep, changes in appetite, loss of interest, and verbalization of wanting to end your life, and hopelessness. Now, the Zung's self-rating scale has been given in this video to help you diagnose or categorize your level of symptoms. And you have to basically, if somebody you know is depressed, then your job is just to become a bridge between them and the medical attention they need. If you found this video helpful, do share it with your friends. I just want to comment that I'm going to be making a specific video on how to identify if somebody has suicidal tendencies. So if you are interested in that, do subscribe to my channel. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.